So I feel like a video like this deserves me to just kind of jump right in because I know right off the bat. Well, firstly, let me introduce myself. I'm Alex. This is Podcast Now, and we're going to do the same thing for Xbox that I did for PlayStation last week. Last week I said, should you buy? I made a video talking about should you buy a PS5, and I talked about specs on about the dumbest scale, a scale of my brain level that I could talk about. I talked about games. I talked about why to upgrade in general, and I promised that I would do the exact same thing for the Xbox Series X/Series S. So here we go. Now, again, this is probably going to get maybe, I assume, more hate than the PlayStation video just because of maybe the way my channel goes. But you know what? I tend to attract different people to these videos than I normally anticipate. Sometimes I get people that I never would have expected that are watching these videos. So I want to come across very transparent and very honest when I talk about Series X/Series S. I'm not getting one day one. I am getting PS5. You can think whatever you want of me because of that. If you hate me, click off now. No big deal. If you don't hate me, awesome. I appreciate that. I am getting one. I feel like I'm going to get Series S very early 2021. Definitely by the second half, going into the summer, going into the fall, I will have an Xbox next-gen console. Okay, I want to make that very, very clear because, again, people will kind of run with their own stories about me as they have, and that's okay. It's just they're wrong. Now, should you buy one of these consoles? Well, the question, I think the real question is, should you buy them at launch? Now, I've not actually shied away at all from my opinion on getting these things at launch, and my answer is, although I'm getting the PS5 at launch, I truly don't think there's all that much reason to buy next-gen consoles at launch. Again, you can agree with this point of view or you cannot, and it's totally cool if you don't. I know a lot of people don't, and I think that's fine. My stance has always been, I get next-gen consoles for next-gen games, okay? To me, power could drive a console. The price could drive a console. Your friends getting a console can drive a console. To me, it's the games that you can only ever get on that console, okay? That's, to me, why I buy them. So for the Xbox, well, what have they done? Well, they have made the Series X and Series S, I think, with gaming in mind, a whole lot more than maybe we thought years ago, maybe we thought with the Xbox One. Buying Bethesda, having their lineup, which, again, people will say, well, there's a lot of unproven studios there. Yeah, when they were thinking about buying Warner Bros. Games, okay, or when the rumor was going out, one of the things I said is, for the people that say Xbox has no exclusives or has no studios, again, people may think I'm so anti-Xbox. I've stuck up for them a ton. For people that said that, I've always said that's not true. They have lots of studios. In fact, before they bought Bethesda, they had 15 studios. Now, yes, a lot of the games are unproven. Halo Infinite looks kind of shaky, but they have a lot in their arsenal that just maybe hasn't panned out well or isn't coming out yet, stuff like that. You have to give them credit for what they've done with these studios and for the eventual lineup. The issue I have with the Series X and Series S, well, let's talk about some more positives, okay? The price is obviously extremely grabbing. Okay, the Series S only being $300 and pretty much being a Series X with just like one or two small differences. Now, I mean, you could argue the word small. Maybe it's big to some. To me, it's small. To me, it's so small that I don't care. And the reason I would get the Series S eventually is to just play, maybe if the Bethesda games are only on Xbox, Halo Infinite, obviously. Those are the reasons I would be getting it. I would still play third-party games on PlayStation just because it's my preference, honestly, for no other reason. Because of that, I think the Series S is my ticket, and $300, I mean, my God, that's extremely cheap. Now, the Series X being $500, well, the PS5's $500. So, in terms of price, it's a wash. Series X, as I said in the PS5 video, Series X does some things better, does some things worse. Again, to me, I wouldn't call myself, I hate the words casual gamer and stuff like that, so I don't really want to give myself a label. I do play games pretty much daily. Obviously, we live stream once a week. I cover games on this channel. This channel is mainly a gaming channel, although I talk about movies and TV. I play a lot of games. But at the same time, the differences between the PS5 and Xbox, they're not going to make me not sleep at night, okay? Honestly, that's not, the fast loading times of the PS5 are not the reason why I'm getting the PlayStation 5. You know what I mean? mean, or something along those lines. None of that spec stuff, that kind of spec stuff, actually matters to me. Again, to me, it matters the games, but the price Xbox obviously has on their side. The Xbox Game Pass. I mean, this is where we get into the issue, though. So should you buy this console day one? Well, to me, my answer has always been no, and it still is no. And again, that's maybe where there we go. There's half the audience that just clicked off right there, and that's okay. But let me explain. Honestly, look. The Xbox Series X and Series S, I want to do good. I don't want this console to fail. I don't want the PS5 to fail. I want all three, counting the Switch, I want them all to be very, very good and live for a long time because I cover games. I will play games anywhere that they are. If there's a good game on Xbox, I will play on Xbox. If there's a good game on PlayStation, I will play on PlayStation. I want them to be around so I can experience more things. That's boiled down my thought on all this stuff. So you can call me a fanboy or a hater all you want, but in truth, that's where I stand, where I just want games, and I will always follow the games. I can get multiple consoles. I can get one. Doesn't really matter, okay? For Xbox, I mean, just as a fact, what is coming out this fall only on Series X? Now, again, Games Pass is I mean, you can't say anything about Games Pass that hasn't already been said. It's the best deal in gaming of all time. Is Xbox losing money on it? I've seen a lot of places that they are, okay? At the same time, they are making boatloads of money, but they're also spending a lot of money to get the games and get all the studios on board with that kind of idea, okay? So, I mean, there's no arguing how good that is. The problem is, you don't have to get that just on Xbox. The games come to PC, and there's also like the PC Pass where it's basically the same thing. I believe it's slightly more expensive, right? So for me, I can say this a couple of different ways. I do not have the highest end PC. Now, I want to get a high-end PC in like a year or two, okay? That's my plan going forward. I have a pretty powerful laptop, but obviously a powerful laptop isn't really all that comparable to like the new, like the 3080, you know, the new stuff that's coming out for PCs, okay? So I mean, I can talk that I have an okay PC all I want, but in reality, I want a better one. I want that almost in a way to act as my everything console because I feel like the more I learn about the gaming industry, the more I learn that, in my mind, how I stand on it is PS5 games you can only get on PS5. Now, yes, they're bringing them to PC, some of them, and some of them way, way, way later. But for the most part, if you want The Last of Us, if you want Uncharted, if you want God of War, if you want Horizon, you'll need a PlayStation console. You're not going to get that anywhere else. For Xbox, you can get it factually, literally anywhere. Like on your phone, on your Xbox, on your PC, you can get it anywhere. You don't need the next-gen consoles, and that is an issue. That's an issue to me. It's also an issue when Phil Spencer, and I know I always go back to this, but it's always an issue when Phil Spencer literally says he does not need us to buy the next-gen consoles. Now, I get it because it's an ecosystem, and that is their model, and it works for them, and that's completely fine. But also, why would I get your next-gen console when you tell me that I do not need it, that we don't even need you to get a next-gen console? But again, the reasoning is because that's true. Because you can get every single exclusive game that comes on Xbox on PC. In fact, the same issue with PlayStation here is like Miles Morales is on PS4 and PS5, okay? In fact, all of the games except for Demon's Souls at launch are on both, okay? So that's an issue for me because I would have liked more. You look at Xbox, the Medium is the only game that's being on next gen. That's not enough. That's not enough, in my opinion, that if I was going to get a console for the games, which I would, you know what a game would have been? Halo Infinite. I would have gotten a console for Halo Infinite. To me, though, the Medium is just flat out not enough. So, look, a couple of things that need to be said to wrap this up. Number one, and I didn't say this last time, but this has always been my opinion on things. If you want to get it, you get it. If you don't want to get it, you don't get it. I'm not here to make up your mind for you. I've always prided myself on being an individual, and I've always prided this channel on making you guys individuals. I want you all to think for yourself. I want you all to be your own person. I don't want to change that. That's why I'm so welcoming of people with all of these different kinds of thoughts, of all these different sides of the spectrum. I think that's very rare on the internet because normally you get people that are only one way. And again, there could be people that don't agree with that. Look at the channel for evidence that I do talk about everything, that I'm not anti one thing. Another thing is, in general, no console, as I said, PS5 and Xbox, I don't think are worth it at launch. Because of what's happened this year in this world, I don't think this is a good idea for pretty much any. Now, you can have your own individual reasons. I have my own individual reason to get a PS5. But in reality, should we all probably wait for 2021? Yeah. Look, the way Xbox has positioned itself is like this. It's going to get massively better relatively soon. I don't know if the first half of 2021 is going to be all that great for Xbox, Xbox. But if Halo Infinite, say, comes out in the fall, and then 2022 we get, say, 1 or 2 Bethesda games, and then say 2 or 3 of their own studio games, 5 to 6, Xbox exclusives in 2022 is actually quite a lot. It's more than we normally get. And by the way, I mean very high quality Xbox, ones that can rival Last of Us, Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon. Okay, that's what they need ultimately for like a gaming console if they want to go that route. And I know they've said they don't see Sony as a competitor, and I completely get that. But if they want to do that, that's kind of what needs to happen. So bottom line is, the system will eventually make itself worthy of you purchasing it, I would say, by the end of 2021 at the latest. I really feel like as we get closer, as we go through 2021 and into 2022, the reasons to not get it are going to shrink. They're really going to shrink. The only issue is, if you have a PC that's powerful, there is exactly zero reason, in my opinion, just my opinion, to get an Xbox. It's always been, actually, it's not always been this case. It's been this case for the past ever since they've started doing the Game Pass stuff. If you have a high-powered PC, I don't see the reason to get an Xbox, because you can do everything you have on the Xbox there. You'll get the same kind of deal with Game Pass, all that stuff. And so I really, in terms of a console experience, it'll start to make itself worth it. It'll start to, I think already out of the gate, it's going to compete with the PS5 a whole lot more than the Xbox One did. And I think as time goes on, it's going to be a very tight race as we go into 2021, as we go into 2022. It's going to be tight for consoles, for console gamer experiences. If you have a PC, I feel like you should just take yourself out of the race right now. And honestly, I've seen a lot of people that say, the PC Master Race stuff. A lot of people that play PC aren't even in the race because there's no reason to be. Actually, there's probably no reason to be for PlayStation either. Again, it's just for those exclusives. So I do love having these talks. I know this is probably going to get me a lot of hate. That's totally, totally cool. But guys, I do want to hear what you think in the comments below. What do you think? Should you get Xbox? Are you getting one? What do you think in general about their lineup, about the future of this system? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And we're getting very close to 40K. If you guys can help me out with that, we're, again, very, very close. So if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. All of my other stuff is in the description. My Twitter, my Discord, my second channel. We're getting close to milestones for all of them. Be really, really cool to hit them, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.